2 minutes into your standard Tuesday afternoon run, legs feel like they're made of 100-pound lead weights. Your breath is short and shallow, your chest is tight, and you are tasting that familiar metallic flavor in your mouth. You check your smartwatch. 5:30 per kilometer. Not bad for an easy run. So you push a little harder. Another 5 seconds per kilometer just to be sure. Another kilometer. Another sweat. You are hitting it. Here's the controversial truth that no running influencer wants to tell you when they're selling you expensive shoes. You are running too fast. In fact, right now, on every single one of your easy runs, you are running entirely too fast. And that exact decision is the single reason you are not getting any faster, no matter how many miles you log. I know exactly how insane that sounds to your logical, competitive brain. You want to get faster, so naturally you push harder. Every run, every mile, every time. More effort should equal more results. That is literally how everything else in life works, from building a business to building muscle at the gym. Except running. Running breaks that universal rule completely, and almost nobody in the running community actually explains the deep, powerful physiological reason why. Here's the mistake basically every single runner, beginner to intermediate, makes without even realizing it. Every single run at every single pace feels like a workout. The moment you lace up your shoes, some competitive switch flips on inside your brain. You start racing the virtual runner on your watch. You start chasing yesterday's pace. You start chasing the person running 20 feet ahead of you. Every run slowly turns into a slightly harder, slightly faster version of the last one. You call that consistency and dedication. It isn't, because from a physiological perspective, that isn't smart training. It's just slow motion burnout. You're not building your body up. You're slowly breaking it down, step by miserable step. This video is going to give you the ultimate competitive advantage that your racing partner won't even believe, because it requires you to go against all logic and listen to science, not your ego. We're going to look at why your body plateaus, and I'm going to show you the one simple formula, the exact science behind Zone 2, that elite marathon runners use for 80% of their training to build their legendary speed. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside your body when you always run at that same moderately hard effort. You're stuck in this incredibly frustrating middle ground zone, and it has a name. It's called the gray zone. Gray zone training is the #1 enemy of long-term progress, and it's why so many runners plateau for years on end, unable to drop a single second from their 5K personal best. Here's why. Gray zone is too easy to build real top-end anaerobic speed, but it's also simultaneously too hard to build a deep, rich, sustainable aerobic base. You are essentially training just hard enough to accumulate significant recovery-draining fatigue, and just easy enough to never actually trigger any significant physiological adaptations that would make you better. In the gray zone, you are a master of mediocrity. You're just wearing yourself out, over and over again without ever upgrading your engine. If you want to drop years from your personal records and feel like you're gliding over the road, you have to escape the gray zone. So, let's talk about the solution that actually works and has been proven by decades of science. It's called Zone 2 training, and the entire concept is almost offensively simple. You run slow, and when I say slow, I mean uncomfortably, embarrassingly, is this even a run? Slow. Slow enough that you could hold a full, complete conversation with a friend without gasping for air. Slow enough that other runners pass you. Slow enough that you could comfortably breathe only through your nose the entire time. Slow enough that people watching might genuinely wonder if you're actually jogging or just power walking with an attitude. Why does that matter more than any hard interval walkout you've ever done? Because at that low, easy effort, your entire metabolic system shifts gears. Your body is forced to use primarily fat for fuel instead of quick-burning limited carbohydrates and sugar. And more importantly, that low-intensity effort triggers a deep biological adaptation in your muscles. It builds more mitochondria. I want you to imagine mitochondria are the tiny, hyper-efficient engines inside your muscle cells that produce boundless energy using oxygen. The more of them you have and the more dense they get, the more fuel and oxygen your body can process at any given pace. More mitochondria mean faster paces eventually start to feel easier, simply because your entire biological engine got bigger. You upgraded your power plant. Here's the crucial part that trips people up the most. This essential adaptation, more mitochondria, better fat adaptation, a stronger aerobic engine, barely happens at all during hard efforts. In fact, hard, intense running mostly trains your anaerobic system, which is fantastic for short, powerful bursts, sprints, hill repeats, and hard tempos. But that anaerobic system does almost zero to build that deep, sustainable aerobic engine you need for actual long-term endurance speed. Think about it. Fat is the fuel of Zone 2, and fat is essentially an unlimited fuel source for a marathon. Carbs are the fuel of hard running, and you can only store enough carbs for about 90 minutes of effort. If you don't build that fat-burning engine first, you will hit the wall in every long race.
You cannot sprint your way into a bigger engine. You cannot speed your way into mitochondrial density. You must build that foundation slowly, literally. The structure of that powerful endurance engine is built step by slow step in the quiet of Zone 2. And if you skip that boring foundation, all the hard interval workouts in the world won't make you faster over 5, 10, or 21 kilometers. So how do you actually know if you were training in Zone 2? Here is the simplest, most reliable test that actually works for 90% of runners. It is called the talk test. If you are on an easy run and you can comfortably speak in full, complete sentences without gasping for breath between every other word, you are probably in the correct Zone 2. You should be able to recite a sentence, sing a line of your favorite song, or discuss your day without sounding like you were dying. If you can only get out 3 or 4 words before you absolutely need to inhale another massive breath, I have bad news. You are running too hard for this type of run. You are drifting back into the gray zone. Now, if you want to be more precise, you can use heart rate. A rough estimate for Zone 2 heart rate is approximately 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. You can use the basic formula of 220 minus your age to get a rough max heart rate estimate, and then multiply by 0.6 and 0.7 to find your initial range. But for most runners, when you actually commit to that heart rate range, it is going to feel almost uncomfortably slow at first. It will require you to actively slow down. Sometimes it might even require you to stop and walk up hills to keep your heart rate down. And that is the real obstacle here. The greatest obstacle to Zone 2 is not biological, it is purely psychological. Slowing down feels like admitting defeat. It feels lazy. It feels like you're completely wasting a run, wasting your valuable time. But elite marathon runners, the fastest, most endurance-tuned humans on the planet, run the overwhelming majority of their weekly mileage, often around 80% of it, at this exact, easy, conversational, uncomfortably slow pace. They understand the science that hard efforts are the minority, not the majority. Most amateur runners do the complete opposite without even realizing it. They run 80% of their mileage hard, 20% easy, and then wonder why they never get faster. Here is your actual, actionable plan to escape the gray zone and finally build that bigger engine. On your next few easy runs, I want you to focus entirely on form and heart rate, not pace. Slow down until it genuinely feels almost too easy. Hold a casual conversation with your running partner. Breathe entirely through your nose if you can for as long as you can. But when your heart rate starts to creep up on a hill or as you fatigue, I want you to do something radical. Ignore your ego completely and let your ego go on its own run. Let the fast runners pass you. If you need to stop jogging and purposely start power walking up that hill to keep your heart rate in Zone 2, do it. I want you to power walk with attitude. That power walk is still a critical adaptation. It is building your mitochondria and forcing your body to use fat for fuel. A walking break in Zone 2 is more productive for your long-term speed than jogging in the gray zone. Give this approach 4 to 6 weeks of consistency. Build tall posture, slightly quicker steps with a fast cadence, and breathe deep into your belly. And after a few weeks, something strange happens. The same easy pace that used to spike your heart rate and feel uncomfortable starts to feel like absolutely nothing. And that pace you used to call your moderately hard effort, it starts to feel manageable. That is not motivation. That is not magic. That is mitochondria. That is your engine getting bigger. Run slower to get faster. It sounds backwards, it feels backwards, it defies all common sense, and that's exactly why almost nobody in the running community actually does it. Do not be almost nobody. Build the chassis, protect the engine. Boring wins. Trust the science, ignore your ego, and give your body the slow foundation it needs to build sustainable, lifelong speed. If this video just changed how you're going to approach your run tomorrow, hit that subscribe button right now. Because in the next video, we're not just covering what's chato or boring, but we're looking at exactly what happens inside your body, the fascinating silent physiological changes if you actually manage to run consistently 3 times a week. We'll look at the incredible shifts in your heart, your brain, and your muscle tissue that nobody explains clearly, and some of it will genuinely surprise you. This is Dr. Runner. Slow now, fast later. Run smart, breathe deep, and I'll see you in the next one.